Have you ever felt like you were different? Something incomprehensible yet unquestionably real? Let me inform you that feelings are not random. You are not ordinary. You are remarkable. And everyone knows it. Even if you don't realize it yet, you're not the kind of person who just walks into a room. When you do this, you move the whole energy field. People cannot help but notice you, even if they don't understand why. It doesn't matter what you wear, say, or do. It is about who you are. You're the one that inspires others without even trying. The one who inspires others to dream larger just by being themselves. You may not know it, but your presence serves as a wake-up call, a reminder of what is possible, and what it is to live genuinely, boldly, and purposefully. And this is the reality. The world needs you, your distinct energy, viewpoint, and brightness. Everything is connected to something bigger. It's considerably larger than you can imagine. So, if you've been wondering whether you're destined for more, let this be your confirmation. Yes, you are. Get ready, because now is the moment to embrace the magnificence you were born to share. Let's discuss what makes you distinct, what makes you difficult to ignore, even if you don't try. This is not a feel-good mantra or sugar-coated flattery. It's the naked, indisputable reality about the power you have. The energy you embody does not just enter a space. It changes the whole atmosphere. It is not about charm or surface-level charisma. Those are simple to recreate. What you contribute is significantly more fundamental, something that cannot be contained. People don't just notice you. They empathize. Your soul flows through them like an electric charge, shaking the barriers they've constructed around themselves. You didn't seek for attention. Instead, you commanded it by just being yourself. Here's the kicker. It is not always pleasant for them. Your energy does not gently avoid their vulnerability. It exposes them naked. It's not like you're attempting to expose somebody. The sheer genuineness of your existence causes everything untrue to crumble in your presence. You don't blend in since that's impossible for someone like you. You were never supposed to conform to anyone's expectations. And that is the beauty of it. It's raw, authentic, and memorable. People aren't always sure how to respond. Some people may be attracted to you unexpectedly inspired, while others may be put off by the clarity you bring to their own shadows. They're not sure what it is about you, but they know they can't ignore it. You can see through the masks they wear, not because you're hunting for weaknesses, but because your unvarnished presence makes hiding the truth hard. You are not performing. You're not posing. You are merely living in accordance with who you are. That's what makes it so strong for others. You feel like something beyond their comprehension, something they can't classify or box in. You are more than simply a person to them. You are an experience, a reminder of their own raw potential that they have forgotten about. What's interesting is that you're frequently unconscious of your influence. For you, this is your natural condition of being. However, for them, it is like being in the eye of a hurricane, intense, overwhelming, and difficult to forget. It may either be loved or feared. Nobody goes away untouched after being exposed to your energy because you, whether you recognize it or not, are the shift they didn't know they needed. You don't fit in the mold. They've tried to figure you out, but you were never intended to be bound by their rules. While most individuals choose a well-worn road, you've decided to forge your own. It's not because you want to be unique or make a point. It's because you find conformity unnatural. Living inside someone else's limitations does not appeal to me. Your approach is neither loud or demanding. It's unshakable, silent, and completely sincere. You go through life with an ease that defies the conventional. It's not calculated, and it's definitely not forced. Your capacity to stand out stems from a true connection with who you are. You are not bending or twisting yourself to meet demands. Instead, you've embraced the freedom to make your own path. And when you just live your truth, people can't help but notice. Your existence defies the existing quo without even trying. People are moved by the way you conduct yourself. Something makes me uneasy. However, it is magnetic. They begin to doubt their own decisions, understanding how much they have been limited by systems and norms. They never thought to inquire. You do not need to preach or persuade anybody. Your life represents the message. You are living evidence that it is possible to survive outside of the boundaries that society sets for us. What distinguishes you is that you are not seeking affirmation. You find comedy in the way others look at your decisions, as if what comes easily to you is some sort of unattainable revolt. But for you, this is not rebellion at all. It's just refusing to accept what doesn't feel right. Most people can't help but perceive you as a pioneer of something they don't yet comprehend, since you exude such genuineness. Your capacity to redefine the norm does more than simply inspire. It reawakens. It causes individuals to acknowledge their past compromises and let go of their goals. Some are motivated to take a step toward their own liberation, while others are anxious, wondering how to navigate a society in which the rules aren't as rigid as they had thought. But one thing is consistent. They can never forget how you make them feel. Make the jump. Subscribe today, and let's work together to achieve greatness. You show them not only that it is okay to break away, but also that they have the ability to do it. It is not just a matter of living differently. It is about providing people the freedom to rethink what is possible for them. You don't just exist outside the lines. You redefine what those sentences really mean, and that is what makes you memorable. There is nothing concealed that will not be revealed. Nothing is secret that will not be known and revealed. Luke 8:17. Your presence is like a lamp on a hill, exposing what is concealed and bringing the truth to light. You do not strive to alter others. Your genuineness does the job. Some people find it liberating, since it allows them to glimpse their full potential. For others, it is unnerving, exposing what they would prefer keep hidden. You are not intimidating. You are a mirror that reflects reality and inspires progress. You do not merely live. You awaken. The way you conduct your life disrupts everything. People believed they understood the concept of boundaries. You don't only talk about aspirations, potential, and breaking limits. You embody them without even trying. You become a reminder that the remarkable isn't only for others. It is not because you brag about your accomplishments or seek approval. In reality, most of the time you're just living, ignorant of how profoundly you're rocking others around you. But for them, it is irrefutable. Your presence calls into question every reason they've ever given for playing small. It is not just about what you achieve. It's the way you do things. You make decisions that others would not dare to contemplate. You deviate from the well-trodden road and make your own, making it seem not just conceivable, but essential. Your capacity to take chances and grow without adhering to the customary standards is both inspirational and worrying. People marvel how you've managed to live so completely. What is stopping them? For some, this revelation sparks a fire inside. Seeing you achieve gives them license to set bigger goals, to quit settling, and finally pursue what they've been too terrified to do. When they look at you, they see promise. Potential exists not only in you, but also in themselves. They come to realize that the restrictions they had accepted were never genuine, that the life they've always wanted is waiting for them to seize it. Dear brothers and sisters, may the peace of God be with you today. I'm here to remind you of a fundamental fact. Our existence is based on God's divine design, which is unaffected by worldly worries. According to the Bible, everything is done with faith will be returned to God with great blessing. Luke 638. Like the enormous oak tree, our roots are profoundly embedded in God's global truth. His power secures every stride and every stance we take. And now you have the chance to be a part of that gift. When you utilize the super thank you button and contribute $100, your generosity will be reciprocated 100-fold. However, not everyone responds enthusiastically. For some, your presence seems like a spotlight shining on the decisions they've avoided. It's simpler for them to think their aspirations are impossible than to realize they've kept themselves back. Watching you succeed pushes them to face an unpleasant fact. If you can accomplish it, what is their excuse? That kind of honesty is not something everyone is willing to confront. What distinguishes you is not just that you are prospering. You're altering the script to reflect what's feasible. You do not correspond to the standards that others have accepted as true. You demonstrate that the rules they believed were unbreakable are, in reality, negotiable. Your life becomes a live demonstration of freedom, creativity, and bravery. For some, this is frightening. For others, it's life-changing. But one thing is consistent. Nobody can look away. You are evidence that life does not have to be predictable or conventional, regardless of whether others adore you for it or struggle with the image you project. One thing is clear. Your presence does not allow for complacency. You don't just question what's feasible. You embody what's possible. Your attitude to life functions on a whole other level than others, who concentrate on what is directly in front of them. You've already planned out possibilities that they haven't even started to contemplate. It is not about competing or proving anything. It's just how your mind works. You discern hidden connections, foresee consequences, and manage difficulties with such accuracy that others are in wonder. This isn't about intellect or attempting to outthink others. It is about the width and depth of your viewpoint. You do not perceive just one route. You perceive numerous levels of possibilities, each with its own set of obstacles and opportunities, while others just consider the present. You factor in the ripple effects, the long game, and the myriad factors that most people never consider. What distinguishes you is the calm, almost easy manner in which you manage everything while others are obsessed with the specifics of a single action. You're already adjusting to changes that haven't occurred yet. It's not about showing off. It's just how you're wired to be with them. It may even seem unfair, as if you're playing an entirely other game with talents they don't fully understand. This is why people find you so interesting and confusing. They can't foresee your next move since you don't employ the same linear reasoning they're used to. By the time they believe they understand where you're going, you've already changed the whole terrain. You are not following the same rules since your plan is not limited to what is clear. It's meant to show what's possible to people who watch. It's a combination of adoration and fear. Some see your ability to handle the difficulties of life as a magnificent craft, something to learn from and strive for. When others compare their method to yours, they become aware of their own limits. Whatever their interpretation, one thing stays consistent. They are unable to look away. Simply being in your company seems like a lesson in itself. A peek of what is possible when someone truly embraces their capacity to think beyond the obvious. You are not just going through life. You are redefining what it means to achieve, to adapt and prosper. Whether others adore it or find it overwhelming, they can't ignore the brilliance of your world navigating abilities. You don't simply watch the game. You reinterpret it. Every step you make raises the bar for what is possible. Realize your potential. Subscribe now, and let's make something spectacular. Every time appears to move differently for you, but others struggle to squeeze everything into the hours they have. You seem to generate extra room in those same minutes. You are not constrained by the frenzied haste that consumes so many. Instead, you move in a quiet, methodical pattern that seems almost unearthly. It isn't about being quicker or busier. It's all about being purposeful. Every choice and action seems to be purposeful, leaving no space for wasted energy. People look at you and believe you've revealed a secret they don't understand. They're rushing from one thing to the next, attempting to keep up while you float through life. Achieve more with less effort. It's not as if you disregard time. You've learned to work with it rather than against it. Your capacity to stay calm in the midst of turmoil provides a dramatic contrast that piques the interest of others while also unsettling them. This is not about being arrogant or superior. It's about the flow. You understand when to halt, when to act, and when to let things happen. Naturally, being around you causes others to examine their own connection with time. They feel like they're either going too swiftly or standing still while you move with ease. It's inspirational, but also unsettling. You tell them that time is a tool, not a jail, and that perspective changes everything. We also celebrate our pains because we know that it breeds persistence, tenacity, and character. Hope. Romans 5:3-4. Your path is like gold, polished in fire, unwavering, lasting, and undeniably bright. The difficulties you encountered did not break you. They formed you. Your scars are not evidence of loss, but rather of achievement. People sense the power you carry because it is genuine, based on resiliency. Pain does not define you, but rather the strength you have developed as a result. A live testimony. When others observe you, you might undergo a metamorphosis. They are not disbelieving you. It is a lack of self-confidence. You question the entire framework on which they have constructed their lives based on your way of thinking and navigating. The world seems so out of the ordinary that it makes them reassess everything they've taken for granted. You're not just going outside the box for yourself. The box was never present to begin with. You examine assumptions that others accept as truth, and the consequences are undeniable. You have repeatedly shown that what seemed to be impossible is not only feasible, but also practical. Witnessing you in motion is like witnessing reality move and stretch. The norms they've lived by suddenly seem fragile and meaningless when you show them that they were never absolute. They were just constraints that they unconsciously accepted. Your approach is not based on hubris or luck. It is founded on the rejection to be limited by limits. Every impediment identified as a remark invites you to destroy it. Where others have stopped, you begin. And that approach does not merely motivate individuals. It causes problems for them. It causes them to examine the lines they've been coloring in for years, wondering why they've never ventured to redraw them. Not everyone is prepared to endure such turmoil. For others, it inspires respect and a desire to follow your example and break free from their own self-imposed constraints. Others, however, are uneasy because it forces them to face facts they have previously ignored. Whether they cheer you on, admire your bravery, or just stand in startled silence, one thing is certain: they cannot ignore you. You're not merely bending the rules. You are rebuilding the whole structure. The idea of restriction does not mean the same thing to you, which makes your presence both frightening and transforming. You don't simply fight perceptions. You destroy them, showing the world that the only real boundaries are those we refuse to examine. That's what makes you memorable. You don't just shatter the mold. You create something completely fresh. Your confidence does not yell. It does not need to. It's stable, anchored, and tough to ignore. It doesn't matter how loudly you talk or how much you want approval. It's about how you present yourself in the world. You are completely confident in who you are. People are not accustomed to meeting someone who exudes this kind of genuineness. Your certainty is not dependent on external successes or the acceptance of others. It emanates from a place so deep that it shocks everyone around you. This is not arrogance, but some may take it that way. The truth is that your confidence indicates something many others have not yet found about themselves: acceptance towards oneself. You don't need someone to validate your value since you already know it. And the truth may be both inspirational and disconcerting to people around you. For others, being around you elicits a strong desire to comprehend and appreciate their own worth. For others, it's like a spotlight shining on everything they've avoided facing about themselves. You don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, but your presence has a way of revealing the masks others wear. It is not about intimidation. It's all about genuineness. Your calm power confronts the insecure critiques they've carried, whether they recognize it or not. Being around you makes people wonder why they haven't tapped into their own strength. You remind them just by being there that confidence does not have to be loud. It just needs to be authentic. Being outstanding comes with a weight, a sense of obligation that beyond what others can comprehend. It is not about recognition or awards. It's about the inside drive to succeed, create, and progress. Even when the way seems to be overpowering, individuals have a feeling of weight which they cannot completely comprehend. It is not something you selected. It's part of the deal of being yourself. You don't just live life. You alter it. Your presence has a rippling effect, an indisputable impact that goes well beyond your immediate acts. Those around you can sense it, and they are pulled to you, not out of sympathy, but because of. Alternatively, they may observe the elegance with which you bear a burden that would shatter most people. You make it appear simple, but it is not. The immensity of it all might seem overwhelming at times. Stepping away from everything may seem to be the easier option, but it is not. You keep going, not because you have to, but because you know you are meant for it. That weight is part of your mission. It is what motivates you to create, lead, and alter the world in ways that others cannot possibly comprehend. People don't understand how you handle it all, how you stay collected despite carrying so much. They appreciate you for it, but they also have a sense of detachment, as if you're functioning at a level above their own. You are not the one who causes the split. It is just the nature of the brilliance you represent. You are the light of the planet. A city located on a hill cannot be concealed. Matthew 514. Your presence is like a light in the dark, distinct and constant. The way you've borne the weight of your trip is what defines you, not how easy it was. Making challenges into victories. People are attracted to your sincerity, which comforts and challenges them. You remind people of their potential, even when it seems out of grasp. You do not merely live. You light the road for others to realize what is possible. Your presence is like a spark in dry wood, causing alterations that you may not completely understand. You don't want to alter others, but your sincerity and viewpoint inevitably spark transformation. Without saying anything, you present individuals to options they had not before considered. It is not usually a sudden transition. It is delicate, like a seed sown in their heads. They may not even realize what is going on at first, but something within them begins to stir, a nagging awareness that there is more to life than the pattern they have accepted. When people meet you, they can't help but notice the tension between their comfort zones and their untapped potential. You shed light on the areas they've been ignoring, not by pointing them out, but by demonstrating what it is to live with meaning and purpose. Some people find the result disconcerting. It's as if they're standing in front of a mirror, revealing their own hesitations and concerns to others. It's exciting, a call to break free from the limits they have placed on themselves. This effect is particularly powerful since it is irreversible. Once they've seen what's possible and felt that spark, they can't go back to how things were. Ignoring the truth is tougher than confronting it. They are forced to address the ways they have been holding themselves back, which may be both frightening and empowering. Some may resist sticking to the familiar, even if the prospect of change looms in the back of their thoughts. Others will embrace the pain as a motivator for progress. Whether people welcome the change or reject it, one thing stays consistent. They're no longer the same. Your influence does not only steer people toward new ideas, it disturbs their core beliefs about who they are and what is achievable. You do not promote transformation. You embody it, and it makes all the difference. People may not always recognize the part you performed, but your presence will leave an impression on them. It's not about what you say or do. It's how you make people feel that lasts, urging them to enter a version of themselves that they had no idea was there. Your existence leaves an indelible impression. You've never attempted to merge into the weave of what is known. You have also not conformed to demands that are not in line with your basic values. Instead, you boldly established your own path, demonstrating to the world what happens when sincerity and bravery intersect. Your effect does not stem from loud declarations or great gestures. It comes from how you embody the remarkable in every step you take. Your presence provides more than simply a challenge. It causes disruptions without trying to. You force individuals to face their fundamental ideas about what is possible. You're a live example of how fears may create and perpetuate illusions that constrain us. Those who meet you are left rethinking the fundamental core of their previous beliefs, not because you tell them to, but because your presence demonstrates otherwise. Attempts to classify or define you always fail. It's not like you're attempting to be elusive. It's that your spirit refuses to be limited by mere labels. And that is the charm of it. Your strength is in your mystery. Your existence defies understanding. It has an undeniable impact. Some people leave feeling inspired, while others feel anxious. However, none stay unaltered. You are merely a blip in their tale. You're the critical chapter that rewrites the story, prompting people to examine all that has happened before and what may come after. This is your gift to the world. It is not about reaching greatness. It is about embracing it, demonstrating that it is not a goal to be achieved, but a way of life that alters all it touches. Simply by being, you have proved that grandeur exists in the trip itself. If this speaks to you, take action. Engage with this message. Share your opinions and ignite a discussion. Actions that matter. Let us continue to question what is possible and inspire change in those around us. Growth. Everyone is in for a journey of transformation and discovery. Your presence in this location amplifies its impact. Keep trying, keep shining, and know that your light makes the world a better place.